Well, folks, these network upgrade projects are always fun. Replacing some switches, finally getting them up to gig. Welcome to the 90s. Anyways, we have an interesting situation where the switches were replaced, and I noticed, because I go through all the ports before I walk away from my job, and there was a couple of ports with a lot of errors, as well as being 100 meg instead of gig. And the connection was the switch to switch. First thing I verified was the documentation to make sure indeed these ports were the correct ports. They were. Awesome. The other thing I checked was the actual cabling. So I put a cable tester on this end, and it said that the other end was 100 meg. Now, if I actually plug directly into the switches, it says that 10100 gig. So I know the switches are configured properly. Nobody's messed with the speed or the duplex. So something's going on. So I ran a cable tester, and it actually showed me that somewhere in the middle there's a break or a connection of some kind. It's not a straight cable. And it also gave me an idea of how far that was. So that's cool. So now I know that there's something. I don't know what it is yet. I found out it's an Ethernet coupler. Spoiler alert. And now I'm going to walk you through how I deal with that. Hey guys, it's Tony Fortunato from the technology firm, just working on some stuff I thought I'd show you. Well, here we go. Another one of these female to female couplers in line, knocking this down to 100 meg instead of gig. I don't have one with me, and I know people have said that to me, that a lot of times you don't have a female to female coupler to replace it with. So what do? Ideally, you pull a new cable, but a lot of times it's just not practical. So what do? Well, use one of these. So you get yourself a gig cheap and cheerful switch. They're out there for less than, I don't know, whatever, 20 bucks. And you can put one of these in line just to see if it goes up to gig. If it doesn't, you've got a cabling issue, right? But this switch will obviously take the signal in and regenerate it and put it back out on the wire. So that's what I'm going to do. Put this in line, and I'm going to retest my cable. All right, so we went over, as you saw, the coupler, and I replaced it with the switch. Ta-da! Through the miracle of technology. So now it's a switch. It's a gig switch. And what I did was I tested the switch to make sure that the ports were gig. When I plugged them in, some switches have an indicator light to tell you if it's 10100 gig, different colors, or 3 different LEDs. Or if they're manageable, like these two bad boys, you can actually go and SSH or Telnet or web or whatever it is, to query the switch and ask it what the speed and the duplexes of the port. Please make sure it says 100 full. In the old days, we had to worry more about half and full duplex, but that's not as much of an issue. So I checked this. This port is now gig, and this had an indicator to show me it's gig. And obviously this port said gig, and that port said gig. So the issue was that coupler, because if I replace that coupler with the switch, and that still said 100 meg, then there's something wrong with this cabling. Maybe it's older cabling. Who knows, right? And same with the other end. Now, you don't need a cable tester, as I just demonstrated. You can just check the ports, check the speed, check the duplex, look for errors and that kind of stuff. Obviously, if you had a cable tester, it works better when you have unmanaged equipment like this middle cheapo switch. Now, please take note. I'm not asking you to leave this in permanently. I'm asking you to figure out why you had 100 meg, if that's the issue. Now, this switch, again, it's a cheap and cheerful switch. This is a switch-to-switch connection, right? So I wouldn't want to leave this little cheapo switch in here forever. What I would want to do is either A, put in a better switch that I can monitor, right, if I did want to do that. Because sometimes you've got switches laying around. It'll do the job. They're very reliable, and you don't have to pull new cable. Sometimes the cost of buying a new managed switch is actually more than pulling a new cable. So you weigh all that out, you figure it out, and happy troubleshooting. Have a good day. Bye for now.